In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a steering knuckle on your Chevy Silverado 2500. This is going to be located behind the front wheel. Let's get started. Using a 21mm socket, loosen all of the lugs for the center cap. Remove the center cap. Using a 22mm socket, remove all of the lug nuts. Remove the wheel. Using a 10mm socket, remove the bolt for the brake line bracket. We have one more on top of the upper control arm. Remove the bolt and pull the bracket off. We're going to reach up and undo the connector for the ABS sensor. We're going to lift up on the tab that's up here, right there, and you can remove your connector. On the side right here, you're going to have a plastic stay. Using a pick, we're going to pull back on this tab right here, and we can pull it out of that plastic stay. Do the same thing in the front here, on this front door. Pop that door open and pull the sensor out. You should just have a plastic stay right here for your ABS harness. Ours has a cable tie around it. We're going to chop that off and then get into it. Pinch the clip and remove it from the bracket. Using a 21mm socket, remove the two caliper bolts. Remove the caliper bolts, pull the caliper up and over, and we're going to hang this on a caliper hook. Remove the rotor. Using a 35mm socket, remove the axle nut. Remove the washer. Push on your axle. Be sure that it moves freely in the hub. If it doesn't, you can either put the nut back on just a few threads and tap it with a hammer, or stick a punch right here and tap that. Using a 15mm socket, we're going to remove the 4 bolts for the wheel bearing. Remove all 4 bolts. We're going to release our wheel bearing from our knuckle. To do this, we're going to tap on the side of the hub right here and try and get it to rock back and forth. I'm going to install an axle nut, just a few threads, just in case if this does release and fall, it won't just hit the ground. We've went around this with a hammer for quite a bit, and we haven't had any movement in our wheel bearing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an air hammer, and we're going to go on one of the ears, or right under it. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and twist this assembly inside of our knuckle. Remove the axle nut. Push on the axle with your thumbs and pull. And remove the wheel bearing. You have an O-ring stuck up in here. Remove the cotter pin out of the upper ball joint. We're going to bend this up in the back using a pair of cutters. Our cotter pin's a little too rusted to get out, so we're going to use a drill bit and we're going to drill out that hole. Using an 18mm wrench, loosen the upper ball joint nut. Remove the nut until it's on there for just a few threads. Using a hammer, we're going to release the upper control arm ball joint from the knuckle. We're going to hit on the back side with a hammer and release that ball joint. Remove the nut. Using a 24mm socket, remove the lower ball joint nut. Using a 22mm socket, remove the tie rod nut. If you need to release this, take a hammer and hit right on the side and it should pop down. Put a nut on the bottom so it doesn't fall off when it releases. Release the lower ball joint from the knuckle, hit it with a hammer. Release the ball joint. Remove the nut, and remove the knuckle. Install the knuckle over the axle. Install the knuckle. Get the lower ball joint nut started. Pull the upper control arm down into the knuckle. If you need to, you can use a pry bar to help you. Get the nut started. We're going to snug down the lower ball joint nut. I'm going to use an 8mm Allen head to hold the stud. Get it nice and snug. Snug down the upper ball joint nut. Install the tie rod end into the knuckle. Install the nut. Snug the nut down. Be sure that the stud is not spinning when you tighten this down. Torque the lower ball joint to 74 foot-pounds. Torque the tie rod stud nut to 48 foot-pounds. Torque the upper ball joint nut to 37 foot-pounds. If you can't get a torque wrench on it, do the best you can. Once you have it torqued, continue going until you are able to put a cotter pin through. You want to make sure you have both windows to the hole. Install the cotter pin. We're going to bend that down and around. I'm going to cut the tail off the other side. We're going to take some never sees and put that on the shanks of all of our bolts. Get all the bolts started in the knuckle. Install the hub assembly. Line up the splines. Push it into place and get your bolts started. Snug the bolts down. Torque the bolts to 133 foot-pounds. Install the washer and the axle nut. Snug the nut down. Using a pry bar to hold the hub, we're going to torque our axle nut to 177 foot-pounds. Install the rotor. Pull the caliper off of the hook and over to your rotor. Get it up into place and get the caliper bolt started. Snug down the caliper bolts. Torque the caliper bolts to 220 foot-pounds. Install the brake line bracket and get the bolt started. Snug it down. Pull the bracket over the control arm. Get the bolt started. Snug it down. Pull the ABS harness up and get it installed into that bracket. Push it right in. Pull it up over to the side. If you have an old plastic stay, go ahead and use a trim tool or clip tool and remove it out of the control arm. Install the new. Pull the harness up and over. Install the connector. Push until you hear a click. If you don't, give it a pull. Make sure it's locked on. We have one more plastic stay that we need to get rid of. and install the new. If you can install the plastic stay up top, go ahead and do so now. Ours is rotted out and it will not stay in, but you should just have to push this down. Install the wheel. Install all the lug nuts. Snug down all the lug nuts. Torque your lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Install the center cap. After completing this repair, you will need to bring your car to the local alignment shop for an alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.